So what we're going to do today is it is an open house, so there's no real kind of learning. We're just going to cover a few things that we've already done, and maybe some questions have come out of you from there. And also I want to show you that if you haven't been using the community feature of the course, you really should, because if you do have any questions, you can just jot them down there and then you can leave them and I'll answer them, or I'll answer them live, which is better for you. So smaller numbers means that you get more of an experience because everything's answered that you want. Right, so open Q&A. I'm going to do these open houses sort of in between every sort of 3 or 4 blocks of lessons, or when I finish a major section. And the questions should be not outside of that. So it's all the stuff that we've covered so far. So first of all, as always, I'm going to put the link in there to the course, which I think you guys, in fact, I'm pretty sure all of you guys are part of this course. So you're on it, and inside this course is you can get access to all the replays, any PDF handouts that I'm doing at the time, and also you can register for the next ones coming up. So the next one's coming up is a big one, and it's quite good that Christmas and New Year has fallen at this time for this course, because it gives you a bit of time to get your site together. So if you haven't moved on to creating your course, that's what we're going to be doing next. So we've got about, I don't know, it's about 2 weeks where you can work on what you've learned so far in the workshop. And I see you guys that are in here are people that are in here every week, and that's really good to see. So I'm going to show you the course. I've put the link in there, and we'll just jump into this. So I'm just going to run through a few things before. Of course, you've got any questions on what we've already covered, put them in the chat so I can just go straight onto it. And the length of this live will be based upon basically how many questions you put in there. So it might end shorter or more. If I've done a good job, there shouldn't be too many questions on what we've covered so far, and that'll be a good thing. So that link that I've just sent you is for this course here. And when you're inside it, you're going to find the next replay, which you can see the next one's coming up on the 9th of January. And this is the part 1, because it is multiple parts for the course creation, because it's such a big subject. We've got lots to cover. So it breaks into, you know, using setting up a singular course to start with, styling all, and then moving on to how to set bundles, talking about pricing and all the options within that, what drip is and all these things. So it's a big subject. You might only be interested in one part of that. So I'll try and make it a bit clearer. So it's build a simple course. So that's what we're doing first. We're starting with the basics. Remember, this is an absolute beginner's course. So building a simple course is the first one. Then we start to get more complex with what you can do with the system. So that's going to happen on the 9th of January. But within this course itself, you can always just, when you're logged in, you'll just have a book now, and you can just click it and then you're registered. And then you'll get email automations reminding you. So all the replays we've done so far are, of course, in all of these. So you'll have the actual live, the first one, and any resources or extras that I've maybe mentioned inside of that particular workshop will be in there. So you can see pretty much all of them have got extras. So this one hasn't happened yet, and I'll put the replay up there. There will be no extras with this. We're just open question. So this one's set up again, it hasn't happened yet. So this course is a really good place to go to, because you also have your community. So inside there, you can jump into your community, and I will then get, and other guys will see, I get a little message appear. So if you don't know how community works, you get this little thing appears, and it tells me if anyone's got a new message. So I can just click in there, logged in as the user, and here is I've got multiple communities, because we've got obviously more courses inside this platform, but this is the one I'm looking at. So I can see what people have put inside here. And if I click here, it will take me to the thread of everybody's comments. So I look on here before I go in and start the lives, and I just see if there's any questions being asked. Throughout the week, if they come in, I'll answer questions in here, and other people can communicate amongst themselves as well, which is really good. So you've got all that information in there. So if you haven't used the communities, make use of it, because by making use of it, you're going to see how that will work for your school. Now, also remember that we are totally revamping the community, but there's no ETA on that. And that should work with this. So it should just work, just have more options and things in there when it comes out eventually. So make sure that you are part of that course for sure. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run through what we've covered so far. So it might jog your memories and you might ask more questions. So I can see Heather's put it's extremely easy to follow and clear. Yeah, I think the most important thing with this, thank you, Heather, is that we take it slowly, because my prime thing here is it can get complicated. If I was to just shotgun you with everything in one lesson, it'd be like you just lose your mind. So we're trying to break it down into start really simple, and as you grow with me, you'll then probably have more questions to ask as you start to get into it. And I'm trying to leave little gaps where you can finish homework, where there's a lot of stuff to do, like build a site. You can do it really quickly if you haven't got many pages. Remember last week's one that we did, I built those pages for the different sections. So you can do this stuff really quickly, but if you want to take more time over it, then you've got that 2-week period. So what I would say is build it slowly like I did, and then launch it if you want, like we did in last week's workshop, and then add pages as you go. So keep them unpublished, write it all out, make it look beautiful, and then add it to the menu. And I'll be showing you that in a minute. So the first thing I want to do now is just I want to jump into what we've covered so far and on the playbook. So guys, if there is anyone here that hasn't been on any of these, then you'll know. So I think you guys have all been in here. And kudos for taking this seriously and working through them, because at the end of it, you will know pretty much everything to do with Zenler. So that's going to help you a lot. So I'm going to now do a presentation of what we have, and throw your questions into the chat if you like. And here we go. So we got this Course Creators Playbook. This is downloadable as you go through the course. This playbook is going to build. So it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger at the end. And we're actually going to launch this to give this to people. So we're going to rebrand it as well. So this is the first iteration of it. So here we go, planning your site and courses. So the first one we started with was all about planning your site and courses. So we went into a bit of detail about all of that stuff, getting branding, all of that, getting your logo, thinking about type and all those things. So we covered quite a lot in that first workshop. As you can see, that was a lot of stuff to do. We showed about logo design, all these things, and we actually moved on from that in workshop 2, where we covered media creation for your site. So we don't expect you to all be designers and using digital manipulation software and all of that. So I found some free programs that make it easy, and I tried to show you the common things that you would do with your site. So the media creation was like sizes for your site and things like that, and how you can create transparent images and all of these things. So we covered all that, and that's quite a big subject. I mean, you think workshop 1 and 2 and even 3 is like they could be massive courses on their own, and we're covering it in one live workshop. So I'm giving you a taster of what you can do, but enough to build your site. So it means later on, when you start to play around more with creating your own media or even communicating with designers, you'll be able to communicate clearly with them with exactly what you want. So it makes your life easier, even if you're not doing the work, to understand a little bit behind it. And I think it's really important, as you are a business owner, that you should understand every part of your business, not to an expert level, but to a level that you can communicate with your employees or whoever you're using, your contractors. So this is what that's aimed at, to give you the terminology to be able to talk and understand what they're telling you in return. So that was workshop 2, which was quite big. And then last week we did workshop 3, which was building your Zenler site. So we went through some of the standard things that you need to do. And this is a big one, because this is building your site, as if you were building from scratch, like we are with the dog site. So it's telling you all about the page builder, spending a lot of time in the page builder, because it is everywhere inside the Zenler system. So understanding that is really important, understanding what the header is at the top, the dynamic header, understanding what the dynamic footer is at the bottom, and how to link to social media, how to change the menu. This was all covered in workshop 3 as well. And I obviously said to you about relative links, and I know a lot of you are taking this away because I've seen it on the Facebook group. You said, oh, that was a really good tip about relative links. So understanding that you can use a shortened part of the link rather than the whole URL to access internal pages in your site, not external, internal. So that was quite a big one, and they are key things that you should know about. And then I gave you some homework, which is a lot of homework. And, you know, that's why I'm doing this open house today. We're not building on any of that homework. This is workshop 3 is where you're going to do it. So in the next 2 weeks, hopefully you'll have your site in, you know, launched, but you'll probably still be adding pages to it. So I showed you how to do that. And that was workshop 3. And then catch up with the lives is obviously that link that I just showed you. So that's what we've done to date, which actually is quite a lot. You know, when you look back at it, you go, wow, you know, I've done a lot of stuff here. And in little workshops, like what, hour and a half, each one of them, 2 hours, some of them. So in this one, agreed, Mari, feel totally spoiled the layout of this course. Yeah, right, good. I'm just having a look because this is an open Q&A, so I'm making sure that questions are coming in. Right, it really helps to follow the course, yeah. And hopefully, Mari, we're going to make the playbook a little bit better as we're going to put more graphics in there and things, so they don't necessarily have to do the workshops, although in the playbook it will reference certain lessons from certain lessons that are in the course, so people will be able to jump up. And I don't know if you guys have seen, but on our YouTube channel I started to put these workshops onto the YouTube channel, so that will be an immediate link to them, thinking ahead what I'm going to do with the playbook, so it'll be easier for people to follow. Of course, you guys doing it all with me live, so it's perfect for you. So yeah, you agree, you feel spoiled by the layout of the course. That's good. You can go really complicated with these things, but it's to keep it nice, so it's easy for you to go in, and you don't have to be on the lives if you don't want to, but you can always watch the replays. So good one, guys. Right, so I'm going to jump in, and there's a few little things I need to tell you today that I just want to get across, that from yesterday, last week, we didn't really cover too much. So I just want to show you about adding pages and sitemaps. So I covered this sort of, but I wanted to make a point. Right, so you know, last week we created this. So we had this. These were our particular courses that we're going to bring out, be it a membership site, be it individual courses, you know. So this is what we created, and you're seeing this community and this because I'm logged in as admin, but actually if you go to the site like this is what people see. Okay, so they don't see anything else in here. They do have a sign up though that they can go to, and this is a registration page. Now I don't want people to be able to register at this stage. Right, so this is really important, because if you're not ready and you're building your site and you use this dynamic header, you're going to have this sign in appear, and I don't want them to be able to sign in, because otherwise someone's going to sign in before I'm ready with my course. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this block, and I'm just going to put registration coming soon or something. So I'm absolutely blocking it off. I could also turn off the register page. Or the login page. As you see, I've turned the register page off. I've just got the login page. So I could get rid of this so that they can't appear in here. So I can go into the login section of the site, and let me just make sure I'm not messing this up. Or I can hide it. And I don't want them to be able to register into the site. So if you want to stop that, you have the registration page, which is down here, where people can register into the site. And at the moment, you can see it's unpublished. So if I go and view that page, this is what I get, because I've changed the content. It's not showing. So if I go into it, let me just unpublish it again. Let me just publish it again. Okay. And go to it. There it is. So if I go into that, oh, okay, hold on. Let's go in and edit to this. I have my sign up block in there. So I don't want people signing up for this. What I want to put in here is I want to put in the basically the form that I've got. So, you know, I've got this form here because they're coming as leads and they won't actually be registered into the site. You know, it won't have set an account up for them. So I'm going to go in and change the register. I'm going to go into that block. Do not worry, because all the blocks you can put back up. So this is the sign up block. So you can take that out and delete it. And I'm basically stopping people from coming in. And now I've already got my block down here that I saved. And there it is there. So I can just drop that in there. And now this is going to be, people are going to be signing up for it before they're not actually registered. They're just signed up for it. So I can then choose one of those colors in there, save it, do your SEO, preview that. We're not onto the SEO bit yet, but I'll be talking about that. And then you've got this block in here. So people can't actually register on the site. They can only come in as leads. So if I test this out, if I go to here, take this end part of the URL, and I just do a test on this. And you need to test all your forms as well when you're working on this stuff. So if I just put John in here and choose an email address, then it's going to take me to the thank you page because that form accesses the thank you page. So if I go back into my system now under leads, you're going to see I just signed up and there I am. So I'm not in as a student. What this means is that I'm stopping people. Now you're going to understand why I've done this later, because some people will not want people accessing the site as a logged in user. So doing this, getting rid of the registration form on the registration page, stops people doing that because they can't go in there and register themselves. So what does that mean? Because if they're logged in, it means that you can set pages up for logged out and logged in users. So if I'm creating a membership site, I'm not going to want anybody to just register. If they're registered, they're going to get access to logged in pages, not the courses, not the bundles, but logged in pages. So I might want to create a whole lot of pages that are just for logged in users, but I don't want people to get that information for free. This is what I'm thinking if it's a membership site. So if I lock off the registration, so publicly people can't register for the site, then that means that all those pages are private. They're only for logged in users, and they're only for users that have paid for the system, you know, paid for the course or the bundle. So if I was thinking memberships, that's what I would do. Now, however, on the flip side of that, you might want to open your site out for registered users. That's entirely up to you. So people get something for free. So they go in there, register, and then they can see these pages that you've set up. And you can do it in the menu system that are only for logged in users there. Yeah. So they can have access to that. So there's two ways that you might want to go about it. And my aim at the moment is to lock it all down until I've got my site finished. And then when we go into the course creation part and we decide on our final plan, what we're going to do with the site, then we can just change it like that if we want to. So at this stage, it just means no one's coming into the site. And this is exactly what I did with a site that I just set up recently, where I've got this site where I've just got this all locked off. There's no rich, I haven't even put a header along the top or a footer at the bottom. I've just got all of these going through to signing up to get people to come into the site as leads, not as students, not as logged in users. That's the difference. And that's why I set up my own form. All right. So hopefully you're with me. You okay with that? Got it. Right. Mari's all right. Okay. Yeah. Good. Inga, Claire. Brilliant. Brilliant. Okay. So that is a thinking behind it. So I would say, if you're still building, get rid of, on the register page, get rid of the registration and just put your own form in there. Because remember, we created this form last week. So you could just save that form out. You know how to save it, guys. You can come into, where is, you can come into the block and you can save it. So you can do it once and you can save it and you can reuse that because you'll have them in the custom blocks. You can see all my homepage elements. I've just saved them out because I can reuse them. And we did reuse them last week in the toilet training and the dog anxiety. So with that in mind, because this menu that you can see, it's starting to get big. So I want to condense it down. So what we're going to talk about today a little bit for a few minutes is how to create a drop-down menu. So drop-down menu is going to mean that it's only one menu and then I've got 3 dropping down from it. That way I can add more pages and I've got more space because I don't want the menu going right the way across. Drop-downs really help you organize this stuff. So let's do a drop-down menu. Doesn't matter which page I pick because I'm using the dynamic header. And I'm going to go into the settings here and I'm going to go to menu and I'm going to create a new menu item. And I'm going to call it dog services. Okay. Now from here, I'm going to have visible for all. You don't have to. You can lock it off so only logged in users see it, or all users, or only logged out users. So you've got that option in there. But we're going to do it for all. I'm going to select an action now. We're not going to choose go to link that we would normally do. We're going to go to drop down and we're going to click save. Okay, this is going to create this in here now. So what I can do is I can take this and I'll have to remake this. I thought I could drop it underneath, but obviously I can't. That's all right. No problem. We can take this and we can put a drop down underneath it. So we need to do add submenu. So I want to use tricks training. So all I'm going to do is jump to the live site because I've already got that link in there. And I'm going to go for tricks training and a right hand click. I'm going to copy that link. This is one way to do it. You could also jump into the pages and grab the URL from the pages. You know how to do that. Go in there and then you could choose this one and you could grab that URL there. Yeah. So there's 2 ways that you could do this. And now I'm going to add it in here. So I'm going to call tricks training. I'm going to add it to the sub menu. Let's go tricks training. We're going to put action, go to link, relative URL there, as you can see. And I'm going to click save to that. And it will have created a drop down under dog services. So next one I need to do is dog anxiety. So there's our anxiety page. I'm going to grab that, copy that, Control C, jump back in here, add another menu. Link, go to link, save that. And last one is toilet training, which is this one here. Save that. Okay, got them in there. I can delete these ones out now. I don't need them. And it's going to keep things a lot more organized. So really easy to set these drop downs up. So think about that when you're building your sitemap up or the pages, think about how long that menu system is going to get. So if I go into this now, we preview this page, you've now got this drop down where I can click, go into all of my pages. And I've obviously done the wrong one there because that was tricks training and it's gone to toilet. So I need to change it over. Let's just check the others. That's good. the tricks training. So I need to change that one over. That's why you need to test, always test. Date, save. Good. Okay. And remember, we built these pages last time. We just used that same header. We put a block in there. We changed the background of this and it's done. So this will organize your site better. If these drop downs mean that you're not taking up huge amounts of the menu area. So you can have all your services, because you could have 30 or 40 in there if you want to. And a lot of people do that. They break them down into courses that they want. So it gives you flexibility later. So I thought I'd bring that up because it wasn't something I covered. And I think it's quite important that you know that. So next thing to do is I want to talk about is the sitemap, because at the moment, do you remember we set up that holding page right at the beginning? And that holding page was to capture people so you could work on your site in the background. And you could still do that. You could still have that holding page up and work through all the other pages and then launch, flick it over when you're ready. But because we got the site live, the site is actually live, you know, and people are seeing it. We want to add pages to it, but we don't want them to see unfinished pages. But we want to make sure that we're updating the sitemap as well. So what happens is when you first create your sitemap, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. We turned off all the pages and we just had the holding pages on. I think I had a register page. And when we created our sitemap. Now, when you create the sitemap, it will look at the pages in your site. So the sitemap is used by search engines such as Google. It will look at that sitemap and it will say, oh, these are the pages of your site. And that's what it will publish. Now, if you've got pages that are unfinished and Google looks and the sitemap includes them, it will show them in search engines. And you don't want that. You don't want people clicking on it and finding a lot of gobbledygook because you haven't actually finishing that page. So sitemap, recreating the sitemap at each stage is really important. So I've published the pages that I want to show on the sitemap. I've got these tricks, toilet training, anxiety, good doggy. I've got this thank you page for the form. I've got the original rating page, which to be honest, I don't really need. So I could actually just unpublish that because I don't want that appearing in the sitemap. And all the rest of my pages that I haven't finished with yet are all unpublished. There is a couple that are not unpublished, such as the login, which you can't unpublish, but don't worry about it. So all these pages, terms, privacy, courses, this old home page, they're all unpublished. So they won't show in the sitemap when I recreate it. So we're going to have a look at the sitemap as it is now, and then we're going to have a look at it when I recreate it. So you see the difference. So when I recreate the sitemap, it will only show the published pages. That's the thing to take away from this. So you don't want it to be showing the pages that are unpublished. All right. So to go to the sitemap settings, we go to site settings. We go across to the sitemap, and then to check the sitemap, I'm going to copy that URL, right? Control C, and then I'm going to open a new tab and I'm going to paste it. I'm going to have a look. So look, it's got demo. This was before. Yeah, this was last week, the 1 week before. So I got the thank you page. I got the waiting list page, which originally was the home page, the holding page. And I've got the login and I've got a register, but it's not showing my dog anxiety. It's not showing my tricks page. You know, I want Google to pick up on those now because I've launched it and it's good. It looks good. So I can do that easily. So I'm going to just close that tab down. All I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the recreate sitemap. So you need to do this if you change your page, add a page, or you decide you don't want a page to appear on Google, you unpublish it. If you add a page and you've got it all ready to go, you want to go to the site settings and recreate the sitemap. So this is really important, guys, especially when later on when we connect it to Google and it's looking at your sitemap. So I'm going to now click recreate sitemap, and it's going to open a new tab. And now look at this. It's got dog anxiety, toilet training, tricks, It's got the home page now. It's got all the pages I want inside here. And that's how it works. Now, let me just prove something to you. My watch is going off for some reason. Oh, sorry. Right. Okay. So let me prove something to you. Let me go into the sitemap and let me turn off this page. Let me unpublish this dog training anxiety, just to show you how it works. So I go into pages. So let's go into the dog training anxiety. Let's go down there. Let's unpublish that and click update. Okay. So it's now unpublished because I don't want it to appear in the sitemap. Go back to sitemap settings. Go to sitemap. Let's now recreate this. Remember, it was in there before. Let's click recreate. And now it's gone. You see? So you have a look at this sitemap and you check that the pages in there that you want to show. And if you accidentally left one of the pages published that you haven't finished, you now know what to do. You unpublish it, recreate that sitemap. So I'm going to quickly turn it back on because we do want that page. So I'm going to go back in there. And I'm going to go publish page, click update, and I jump back to sitemap. I recreate that sitemap, and now that page will appear in there like that. So that's how you can control the sitemap. People get very confused by the sitemap. All it is an index of your site. It's almost like looking at an index of a book. So it looks at it and it goes, oh, that's that page, that's that page. So if we created a new page, that same thing could happen. So now what we're going to do is quickly create a new About Us page. So you can use one of the pages as a base, or you can create a new block and just add your own. It's up to you. I'll just use one of these. I'll use this toilet training one. So I'm going to duplicate it here. That's going to duplicate this page out. There it is there. I'm going to change this to About Dog Training About Us. And then I'll put it in here. And I'm going to unpublish it at first and click update. Now I've got this page. I'm now going to go into the editor. I always start with unpublished so I can work on the page. And when I get it done, I can then link it to the menu and publish it. So now the page editor open, and I'm just going to put some dummy text in here for the sake of this little tutorial. And this main part of this tutorial is just to show you how to just add an extra page at a later date if you wanted to. So we'll go in here and I'm going to call this Us. What we do, maybe change that color. And maybe I'll get rid of that one. All right, so that kind of sums it up. Yeah, don't want to get too carried away. So I'm going to click save to that and click done. Make sure you SEO your pages. And we're going to come in here, and now I want to add this to the menu system. So it's not published yet, so it won't show. And I'm going to make this mistake on purpose because I just want you to see. So I'm taking that part of that URL and I'm going to put this to the menu. So this is because this is something that people do a lot. They look at it and they see the page and then they go, but other people are not seeing that page. It's because it's unpublished. It's because you're viewing it as a admin. So I'm now going to add it to the menu system. So I'm going to click the little gear icon. I'm going to go to the menu system. I'm going to click add. And inside here, I'm going to put About Us. And then I'm going to go visible to all, go to link, and I'm going to drop that link in. And I'm going to click save. And now I'm going to click save there. And you're going to see it's going to appear there. Now I'm going to preview this. I'm going to click the About Us. And it shows as oops, page not found. But people do this. They go and they go, oh, I'll check here. They don't check on the site. So then they see the page and they go, yeah, the page is good. That's good. I'm okay. But what you need to do is you just need to make sure that page is published. Now, remember, this is not part of the sitemap yet because we've only just created a brand new page. So we go into the gear icon, we go publish, click update. And now I'm going to shoot back to the site settings and go to Sitemap. Remember, it doesn't contain it at the moment. Let me just show you. There's nothing about us in here. So I need to recreate it. And now you're going to see that we have the About Us page there, which I called About Good Doggy in there. And it's added it to it. So that's how you can add to the sitemap to build your pages up as you go through them. So that is really important for you guys to know, because obviously you're moving on to the creating your site part of it. So you needed to know that. So you've had a little bit of a advanced preview on how you can do those sort of things, because it is quite important. And I thought some messages were going to come in the week asking how to do that, but I didn't get any. So I wrote it down and I thought that's something I'll cover in this one just before we get into the Q&As. All right, guys. So I'm going to have a look. You can all turn your mics on, but I'm going to have a look at anything. Yeah, so Heather's happy that dogs are making the, but a lot of dog trainers. So I was like, oh, do you know what? And Kevin loves his dog, and so does Rakesh. So I thought I'd do a dog one for a change. Also, it's a good holder for doing things like single courses and also membership sites. So this is a good example to show you the plethora of things you can do with the platform itself. So Elizabeth says, I can't see what you are doing. I was screen sharing. Did you guys see it?
Yeah, it's sometimes it's too small, David. But I can make sense of what you're doing. So
right, you saw it all, yeah?
Actually, what happened is that it was on the right-hand side, and I had all the pictures of everybody on the right-hand side.
Oh,
so
right.
And I've sort of mentioned that below. It seems the workings are on the right-hand side of the screen.
Yeah.
Where I had pictures of all the participants. So once I moved it, I could see what you were doing.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Just what when you watch the replay, obviously you won't have that there because it will just be the screen. So just re-watch the replay just to see how that kind of menu system is done.
Okay. Good.
And any questions?
Thanks.
Come into the community and. So, right, okay, yeah. So, Elizabeth, is there any way we could salvage work? Should we exit and forget to save? No. It warns you, Heather. It warns you to hold on, let me just, right, let me just do something. Right, okay, so it always warns you if you try to do that. So if I was to, for instance, add a new block in here, let's go back down and take one of these blocks. I'll just throw that one in there. Oh, there it is, there. So if I now try to leave here, it will say leave site, changes that you made cannot be saved. So if you hit leave again, then it can't. You always see the button turn to save. So if I cancelled that, obviously I've just got to change that background color. If that little button turns blue, it means that you've done a change. So if I click save, it's not going to show up. It's going to be like this. But if I go in here and I just make a change, watch what happens to the button. It goes blue. So if I try and close the page, it's always going to ask you. So you shouldn't be exiting out. I mean, of course, if you shut down your computer or you hit here, you're closing the browser, then that could cause a problem. I'm not going to do that, but inside the browser itself. But with all these things, take it, if you're new to using this stuff, then take it slowly. Like, don't rush. If suddenly you're working on this and suddenly you realize that your vegetables are boiling over or something, then just leave it, go off, take the vegetables off the gas and then come back. Yeah. So I think that's the way. So there is that warning there, but it's like any system. If you just exit out of it, or even if you had a power cut with your computer, you know, you're going to lose that information. But that's with any platform. That's not just with Zenler. At least with Zenler, you do get this little notification up the side. And also, if you try to go out of the page itself, you're going to get this message come up. So that's all we can do from our end to do that. It doesn't automatically save as you're working. You do also have this ability to be able to go back as well. I don't think I've mentioned this to you, but you can actually go back through revision history. So if I change this to say this color here, and then I was to save it, we can actually go back. You've got these little arrows here. If I click that little arrow, it will go back to what it was before. You can also click forwards as well. And you also have a version history down here. So it saves version histories of your pages as you work through them. And you can actually rewind it back. It's almost like time clock for Apple, where you can actually go back and forwards through things. So that doesn't keep tons of them, but it keeps like at least 10 of them. Okay, so you can go back and you can see. So sometimes I've used that where I've like, especially like if I've got to reset the site, then I'll go right back so that I don't, so that I can start the training again. So for me, it's quite important, this thing. And yeah, very much overlooked, plus the undo as well. You'll also see there's shortcut keys for undo. If you press and hold the control key and the Z, you can go back. If you press the control key and plus the Y, you can go forwards. So it's quite good. And that's pretty common on most software. Control Z, control Y, and go forwards through history or back through history. So hopefully that's helped you. All right. Oh, good. Good. We got the questions. Brilliant. Mari, yeah, this question come up in the Facebook group. No, there isn't a way at the moment. There has been talk, I know it's on the roadmap, to be able to customize the 404 page. I think they're bringing that out. With those kind of things, they're not doing it yet, because we're bringing out this new page builder where it's going to have things like you being able to customize your 404 pages and oops pages and those sort of ones as well, and other pages as well. So not at the moment, but it is coming out. Right, Mina's asked, can you show us again how to make a working page, our home page? Absolutely, yeah, really easy this one, guys. So with the home page, you have two options. You have one for logged in users and one for logged out users. So if I wanted to make this about page, let me just delete this block out. If I wanted to make this my home page, all I need to do is, come into the pages. So this is what I like to do, because sometimes you can get confused. Look at the name of the page, what you've called it. So in this case, I've called it Dog Training About Us. So that's what it's called. And this is the URL for it. So if I go into the home page here, you can say a different page for logged in or logged out users. Now, remember, I've turned off that registration page, so I'm stopping people logging in anyway, so I can keep both of these the same. But if I want to find that page, I find the page down here, Dog Training About Us. So I'll just put it on for these two and click save. And that is now saved as the new page. So the About Us page will be the home page. So if I just go into incognito and click this, now you've got the About Us page. Yeah. So
thank you. So David, right. We don't need to rebuild the sitemap after we do this, do we?
No, in that case you don't, because it always records the home page as, like in this case, the home page is demo.newzenler.com. So if I go into the sitemap, it doesn't make any difference. But it's worth recreating every instance, but it doesn't actually make any difference with the home page, because it's always going to give you this, which you've set now as the home page. So this one by default will always come up. If you deleted all of the pages out of your site, this page will always come up. This part of the URL will always come up, because that's the name of your domain. So that's the topmost one. So if you change a thing over, you'll still get the About Us in there, So it's registering both, which really doesn't matter. So if people come in on that page or people come in on the home page, which is the home page, it will divert to it. So the only instance is if you make a new page and you call it something like home dog training or something. I created a new page now. I made that home page. Because I've got a new page and it's published, I would recreate the sitemap. So you want to check that all the pages that you want visible, including the home pages, are visible in these URLs.
So can you please help me understand? So if we don't recreate the sitemap after we've created and published a page, what happens as far as Google search is concerned?
It won't find it.
Oh, it won't find it. Okay,
No,
thank you.
It's possible that some search engines it might, and it's possible that Google might, but this is best practices. We're giving Google a sitemap to follow, an index to follow. So it could find that page, it could, but because remember it looks at this, but it also looks at the site. And when Google looks at the site, what it will do is it will crawl through the site and it might look at these linking pages if you've got it linked to your site. But this is best practices. That's why we include it, the site mapping.
Thank you.
So
thank you. It's clear.
Yeah, also it gives you a place. You'll notice that if you go into Google Search Console, search.google.com, and you set up your Google Search Console, which none of us have yet because we haven't done the marketing side. But when you do that, there's a place to actually put this URL inside Google. So it gives you a place to put your sitemap. So you have that. So we have that sitemap XML file, which is XML at the end, which Google likes to monitor. Other search engines do as well. I think Yahoo and Bing do as well. So some search engines will obey just the sitemap. They might have a little bit of a look around, but they obey it pretty much to the letter. Other search engines, the more dodgy ones, will not even bother and they'll just crawl everything that's on your site. And you can't do anything about that.
Thank you so much.
That's all right. No problem.
Thank you.
Right, we had another question as well. So, Mina, I might jump you because I've got some other questions coming. So I've answered the custom 404. Right, so Mari's asking if I have two columns on a row and one afterwards to add a third. Oh, right, yeah, nice, easy one. Love it. I love easy questions. Right, you're going to love this. And I think I showed on last week's, but I'm not sure I did. Okay, so I got one row here. Let's just do an empty block so you can see, so it's really clear for you. Let's take an empty block here. Let's drop that in there. And then obviously inside an empty block comes a green row, and then elements are inside that. So let's grab that. And let's just say we've got one row. So now I've got one row in here. So I might want to create two columns in this row. So you don't have to go. I know a lot of people have gone in and gone, oh, right, okay, I better just click that one. And now I've got my two rows. And that's how some people do it. But you don't have to, because what you can do is you can click the row, and then with your mouse button, you need to have a free button mouse or 2-button mouse. Use the right hand button, hover over this with the right hand mouse button, click it. And you'll get all these extra settings come up. So you've got this little setting here, add new column, bang. And again, add new column. And also inside here, you can move them. If you click in here, you can move these around. Now, say I didn't want this one here at the end, right hand click, delete column. And it'll just ask you to confirm, and now it's deleted it. So really easy. You've got other things you can do as well. You can say clone this row, and you've got clone this column, and that adds a column the same as that. And if you've got content in here, you can move the column content to the left. You can move it up a row or move down a row. So you've got these things in here. And also remember, for further control, you can put right, and this is where we get a little bit more technical with this stuff, but inside here, you can put a row inside a row. So it gives you lots of control. So if I hit element, I've got the ability to add an element straight in there, or I could put another row inside a row. So now I've got a row inside a row like that. And why would you do that? Gives you more control. You've got more settings that you can play around with because you've got a row inside a row. So you can get, this is what is brilliant about the Zenler page builder with being able to do this sort of stuff, because it gives you a lot of control inside rows. You don't, it's not just put a row in and then you put your stuff in there and create a column. It's like you can put rows inside rows, and you can change the alignment position of one row inside a row to the actual main row itself. So you can really have fun and play around with this stuff, but really easy to add columns there. So next we have Mina. Right, so do we have the ability to implement carousels inside Zenler? We do have slideshows, Mina. So there is,
great.
Yeah, so there is a slideshow block. We are redoing the slideshows because people have had problems, and sometimes people do. But down here, you have this slideshow option.
Oh, we can see your screen.
Can't see, no, I need to show you. There you go, good. Yeah, inside the blocks, you're going to see down here, definitely go through these. You know, you don't even, just create that blank unpublished page and just go through a few of these things and just see what they do, what's in there. We got contact, different type, you know, you can put a dynamic get in touch contact form on a page, and you can drag all this stuff across. We've also got like things like FAQ blocks, call to action blocks. These are all sort of designed in here, and you can put those in. So if I drag like one of these across, you can drag it. I'm going to get onto the slideshow in a second, but put that in there, and then you've got something designed, and you can just go in and maybe change the color because it's taking my branding. By the way, if it does that and you want the original back, click the little gear icon and just turn off the apply branding, and then it will go into what the default branding is for that block. But if you want your own branding to take over from it, you can turn the branding back on, and then it will change the font, and it'll replace it with your colors. So you have loads of blocks in there that I do suggest you go through and use those. But we also have the slideshow block. So inside here, there is a slideshow block. Of course, you can use external code as well if you've got your own slideshow generator. Where is it? There it is. So we have these different blocks that you can put in. Oh, there we go. And I've got a video on that as well. So watch that video, but this will basically run through a series of different slides, and you can change it. I'm not gonna, let me just preview this. And this will slide through, and you can create more slides on top as well. So let me try and find the YouTube video on that. No, it's in the complete guide to Zenler on tutorials.newzenler, but I think I put one in here. Editing and adding slideshows. So membership slideshows. Let me just paste that in.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and that will give you what you're after. So let me just preview that. There it is there. So you've got little buttons to be able to move back and forwards, and you can edit and put your own content. And of course, all your background images, you can add more slides or delete them out as well. So the link for that is there.
Thank you.
That's fine. That's good. All right. So if I have two columns, how do I add transparent color for a text element? You can't put transparent text onto in here. You can't actually put the text, make the text transparent. You can make blocks transparent and stuff, but You could do it using code, but we don't want to go into code. But you can't go in and use a transparency for a color, for a text element. You could, people do this, if they want to do that, then you could create a semi-transparent PNG in something like Canva, and you could export it out and you could use that as an image, and then it would be transparent, a bit like creating the transparent backgrounds, but you make the text slightly transparent, and then you can put it in there. But inside the settings, you don't have that ability to make it transparent inside here. Although saying that, I don't know if I can put, let me just try something here. Because you can put another number underneath the back, which would choose that. That's what I love about Zenler. You're always finding new things. So I've got it as transparent in there. So I think it uses, yeah, you might be able to use, just trying something here. I might have to do a video on this. I think you can do it. I'll do a video on it because I'm pretty sure that I can put the color in and then I can add a last number on the back. No, I think you can do it though. I'm pretty sure that you can do it using an RGB color, but by default, the system, it gives you that kind of transparent black color down there, but it doesn't allow you to change it easily. So I might have to, I'll look into that because I think that's something that would be really handy to have that slider change. And I'm pretty sure that you can do it. I just need to have a fiddle around because you've got this option here. That's semi-transparent. That's transparent there. That's semi-transparent. So I might better modify these to actually get it to work. But what most people are doing is they're creating a transparent, half transparent image in something like Canva, and then they're putting that in there. Of course, you know, you've got transparency or color overlays on things like background colors. So if I put a background color in, a background image in here, and then I put an overlay color, I can change that. Let me just put something in there, something bright like that. There, so I've got, oh, it's put a kind of weird. Oh, there, yeah, so I can change that color in there, and then I can change the overlay for a background image, but we can't do that with text. I don't know, maybe Page Builder will have that ability to do that. So at the moment we have overlay transparencies on images, but we don't have it on text. Does that help? Yeah, so Mina said 20 to 100, but I don't think it's going to work in here because I just tried it. So.
Okay, got it.
But I think you can do it using RGB color mixes, but I don't want to get too complex with this stuff.
Okay.
Transparent. So, sorry, David, didn't ask clear. I meant to add a transparent background color. Transparent background color for a text.
You did cover that as well. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes it's easier to come on sometimes. Right. Yeah. So. Yes, I think all that. Yeah, because you can put. I think we covered this last week. We could actually go in and put a background image in on a row block. Someone was asking about that. Yeah, so I could go and put, these are by the way, these are transparent images. So you could use, let me just use that one. So you see that's transparent. So I've got the background color showing through on this image. I know this image is massive, but
We can't see your
your
screen.
oh, you can't see it. Let me just look up. So this what I've put in here is a transparent image in a row. Let me just find it again. I'll put another one in. Let me click it. So I've got these little transparent images that I downloaded from Pixabay, and you can see that the background is showing through. This can be quite nice. You know, if I put a little bit of it can kind of show through. So you see, because it's transparent, it's going over the top. So you can have real lot of fun with this by putting images in, background images inside rows to give different effects. And of course, inside the row, as well as adding the image, I can also go in there and add a background color, but I think that's going to override. It's going to override that, yeah. So yeah, that would be good to have that option. Again, just waiting for this page builder to come out, because I think there's loads of little features like this, like things like transparent text. Oh, there we go. Put the image in there and the background color. So we've got that going over the top of the block. So that now gives me the freedom of doing something like that. That's weird. That's gone now. So let me put that back. There we go. Didn't know you could do that. So that's the first time I've done that. It's got me thinking. Yeah, and of course I could put another column in here. I could put another row inside a row, and then I could put another background image in that. So it's literally limitless what you could do. And I'll put that back to transparent. For some reason it resets that. So guys, I found the bug, which is good. So
David, may I ask you a question, please?
yeah, sure.
The images that we include in the rows, we can't have overlays on those, can we? I tried it and I didn't see the option. Like for this image, the
No.
head of the doggy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was saying. You've got more options on the main block than you have in the row. You can always put a background image in there, but it looks like that overlay is turned off. It's probably got something to do with the stacking order of putting images and color on the top. But I'm thinking that there are lots of these things that I'm pointing out now, where I'm pushing the system by doing these things that nobody would really think of doing. Then I'm pretty sure that the team are going to look at things like that to try and give those options within blocks, because lots of people didn't realize you could actually put a background image inside a row. And so there are lots of options, but there's so many combinations of things you can do that if you play around with it long enough, you might find something that breaks the way that it works. So that's why I often sit here and I play around with things like this, and I'm like, well, that doesn't work if I do that and that. If I do it as most people would do it, 90% of people, then it works fine. But if you did that, then it breaks it. So then I have to send an email to support saying, if I do that, then it breaks it. So then I have to fix it. So all these questions go back and forwards with me playing around. And that's why I like doing lives, because you guys ask questions and I try something out that maybe I didn't think of. And then I break it and I'm like, oh, I'll have to send an email to support. So I'm sure they don't like it. So yeah. All right. So next question we've got here. Yeah, so exactly, Mari, you can put a color overlay, or you can do the tint in something like Pixar. So you could go in there, create some text, drop the opacity down 50%, output that as a PNG file and load it in there, and then it would be transparent over every image that you've got. But a really good question, and I'm going to do a video on that because that's a good one. David, I remember learning from you that you should use H1, H2, instead of changing size of paragraphs, but instead of, yeah. So good policy here, and I don't want to confuse anyone too much, is that when you're doing your pages, you should, if it's the title of the page, try and use H1 headers. If it's a secondary part, like a subtitle, try and use H2, and that's all you need to remember. If you need to do multiple like headings, just do all the rest as H2. Yeah, and then for all the body text, just use a paragraph. So if you don't know where they are, I'm going to screen share just to show you. So without getting too complicated about it, the reason that we do this is search engines will look at H1 content as priority. Normally H1 content is the title of your page. So it describes what your page is about. So like about dog training would be a good title. The second one would be we train dogs to overcome anxiety, which would be an H2. Okay, and then the rest of your body is the rest of the text you're talking about is just text talking about the page, you know, the subject in general, and putting in there things like dog training, anxiety inside the text. That way, when Google comes along, it'll look at the page, it'll go H1, oh, right, it's about this. And they go, oh, so it's still about this on the H2 heading, but it actually tackles anxiety. So it tells Google really clearly and genuinely, more importantly, it tells Google what that page is about. It will then look through the body text of your site and it will look for related words where you've used maybe those H1 and H2 headings. So it will look for the word dog training. It will look for the word anxiety and it will see it in there. And then it will say, this is a genuine good page that is all about this subject. And it isn't trying to fool us in what the page is about. And that is the most important thing with Google, is genuine original copy that is on the subject. It shouldn't be trying to put a ton of keywords in there to boost rankings. Google is much more likely to put you higher in the rankings by creating nice genuine copy than something that's just targeted towards search engines. So you use a bit of both. It's like a balancing act with these things. So when you're doing any of your copy and stuff like that, and I said this in the first workshop, is you should make sure that you're using like an H1. So if I've got a page here, let me just put an extra row in here, and going a bit slow today. So inside here, what I would do for this page, if it was about us, I would go in and I would make sure that I labeled the page with the H1 heading block. So if you don't know where that is, let me just close these down. If my system's going to work. Sorry, guys. I think my system's packed up before Christmas. Just close it. Needs a break. My computer needs a break. Sunday's a time when the team sometimes does some updates and things. So maybe I've just timed it wrong. They shouldn't be doing it now because they know I've got a live, but they might be. Okay. So I'm going to choose heading. So the first one is, these are not just, these are called H1, H2, H3, H4, H5. They're called it for a reason. It's because they are tagged as H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. That's how far it goes down to. It's not a text block. A text block would be body or P, okay? So there is a big difference between this. So you should be using H1 headings for the name of the page. In this case, we could call it like about dog training. And then underneath it, if you've got like a subtitle for this or strap line, then you want to use H2. And then underneath that, you want to use the paragraph. So most of your copy will be in this, with this text copy. Okay, You can change the size. Some people have asked, I think it was Mina asked last time, that what about if I need the H1 heading and I want to put more headings in there? So how do I do that if I'm only allowed kind of one H1 heading, which is what we say is the best practice? Then what I say is, if you want to keep it the same size, then just do the same size. So if you've got that as H1, that's 36 Montserrat. I just make sure for these H1s that I do the same. So I make sure it's Montserrat, and then I put it to the same size. Is that the right size? So I make sure it's the same size. So it looks identical, but it's not identical. This is an H1 tag and this is an H2 tag. And I can prove that by going into the code, which you guys don't need to do if I can find it. And it will be in this code as H1. Where are you? Where are you? It's in there somewhere. Can't find it. But it will be in there as H1 and H2. So then the search engines will look at it as that. Let me just hold on. Let me just try this. Let's do a better way of looking at this. Let's preview the page and use Inspector. There. Notice when I put my mouse over it, it says H1.margin. If I drop down to this one, H2.margin, and there it says P. So that is why it is important. Even if it looks the same, it's not. It's tagged differently, and search engines will pick up on it. So to make it really simple, make sure the main title of the page is H1, subheadings are H2. If you need to use H3, you can for down the line, and the rest of it just use body text. And if you do that, you'll be in a really good place with the search engines before we even start. So they'll look at it and they'll know the order. So that's all you need to know about that. We're not even into the marketing part of the course yet. So let's have a look. Questions. Right, H1 paragraphs, done that. I've been using Zenler to provide online live yoga classes during short term. During the current holiday break, plan to use classes as you have included in your training. I also want to offer free sessions, 10 minutes. Yeah, so like we are on topic here, so we're not on the course creation part of it. So I'm not going to answer any questions on that because we'll be off topic. We're going to get to how we're going to do a whole workshop on running lives and those sort of things. I'm hoping by that time we will have some new features gone into the platform, such as the paid lives and the actual adding lives to lesson types inside the platform itself. So we're not on that, so I'm not answering that. Is there a way we can get notified when someone signs up as leads, or do we keep checking? Yes, we can. We're not on forms and funnels yet, so I'm not going to talk about the trigger funnel. But if you go on to, if you want to know about it now before, you can go on to our YouTube channel, and I'm just going to get the link. And I have a workshop on setting up what I call a trigger funnel. And what that does is when someone signs up as a lead, they get enrolled into a funnel, and you don't send them to any pages or anything. You purely use that funnel as a trigger to automate emails to go out to them. So I have that on automatically sending an email and sign up. It's definitely it's definitely in the complete guide to Zenler.
David?
Hiya.
Yes, I was the one who posted about the H1 and H2.
Okay, hold on a sec. I'll just finish this.
Sure.
I got a thing, forms and funnels. So I'm putting a link in there to forms and funnels, but I'll put inside the extra resources for this open house, I'll put a video in there that tells you how to create that trigger funnel, because I can't find the video at the moment, but I did a video. I've shown it a few in quite a lot of live workshops. Okay, sorry, come back to me.
Okay, so I had been working on Canva on creating images with text that took me a while, and it was so pretty. And then I watched one of your courses where you said about putting header, 1, 2, and then the paragraph. So I didn't want to ditch all the work that I had done. So what I did, for example, the header was my title of my website. The second one was the tagline, and then the images were also the text part. But what I did, and I just wanted to know if this works, I added text where the images are, and I shared the link. I made them white like the background, so that nobody can see it, but I know the elements are there. Will because I said, oh, I can't recreate the images that I made for the course, like their boxes there. So what I did is just that I included the text, but I just made it white so it blends in. Now, just for an example, I put it gray so you could see it, but I had to change the image that I had for my header, and then for my tagline, which was H2, and then the body.
Yeah. Okay, right. So what I'm telling you here are, I mean, the best web page is having no images on there at all and just having text. But of course, we wouldn't sell anything if we just had that. So what I'm saying to you is the best rule. So like H1, H2, I'm just showing you I'm telling you how HTML was thought of at the beginning. This is the rules that they were talking about with it. So it's priority, less priority, going down to H6, and then it's looking at body text and looking at information in that body text. So this is how it was designed to structure the way that it works. However, it doesn't mean that you have to have an H1 in there. You could use an image instead. The only problem that I have with images, and there's two things I'm going to tell you about here, Lorelei, is one is with images, it's not going to pick up on any live text because there's nothing for the search engine to read. Right, so what you do for an image is you can use the image description. So you can actually put information about that image, and you use that a lot with emails. So if you go in, it's called an alt tag, and you actually can put what the image is about. So they often have it in mail programs where people don't download the images. So it actually says what it's about, and then they click download images, and then it appears. So it gives information about the image. Now, that's what you should be doing.
Yes, I want to learn the best practices.
Yeah, and that's more marketing side. But what I just want to bring you up on one really important thing here. You're doing what we used to do back in the 80s, which was actually spam so many keywords, and it used to work, keywords, by hiding text. So people didn't see that you were putting down the bottom, like some of the dog training, like I am the best dog trainer in the world, dog training, the best dog trainer in the world, dog trainer in Twickenham, dog training Richmond, dog training, and they used to do these big, and I did it and it worked, reams of about 300, 400 different words all down the bottom, white text, white background, black text, black background, so people couldn't see it. But the problem with that is that the search engines got wise to people using that to try to hit things, and now it's really frowned upon. And you do not want to do that, because if the search engines see that, and it knows that your background is white, it knows your text is white, and it looks at that, it's going to go, what are you trying to do here? What are you trying to get over on me? And it will downgrade you. Get rid of that straight away. That's really bad practice.
Can I use this page with the images that I made? Can I use it for a funnel? Because I put a lot of work into the images, and then after I heard your course,
use the images. You can use the images. It's just your you just have to, just make sure there is some live copy in there, because search engines need something to read. And if you're just using images in there, it's not going to be very good for the search engines to see it.
Well, the text that is in the white background is the same text of the image. I don't know if I did the alt text to the images to what that image says. I would have to look at it now. But
so if you go into the image there, yeah, if you put any image in here, this is just a dummy button that I've made. If you click that little gear icon, come across to the settings, this is here. I can put view here, okay, and then the alt attribute will be view the best dog training in the world, and there we go. I've done it. So I've put that in there on top of that image, but I wouldn't go and put text in there and make it the same color blue as that to try and hide it from someone, just because.
Okay, I just, for the image, I said, oh, it really looks so pretty, and I didn't want to. I did recreate the heading. I ditched that image and the tagline as well, because I had an image with it all together. And then I saw how when you change it, then it shrinks on a cell phone, and then the rest of the font is bigger.
Yeah.
So I will then now, so then is it okay for me to take that text that I put in white and then add it to each image?
Yeah.
And then that'll be better, because I want to keep the images there.
It'll be, I mean, search engines don't expect you to have a ton of text with each image. But yeah, I'm just giving
questions.
Look, Lorelei, I'm just giving you best practice. If your site looks lovely with these images and it's working responsively, then stay with it. But you know, when we go further through the course, when we start looking at marketing, creating landing pages and these things, you can create these same pages using live text, and you can then monitor where the traffic's coming through your site. And then you can say, oh, all those beautiful images I created, they're not getting half as much traffic as that live text page I've got. And then you can make your own assumption as to whether you want to carry on doing that, or you want to adopt it, you want to carry on using your images. But if you know, like, I guarantee that if I see your images, I can do a live text version of those and make it just as good looking, if not better, than what you've already got on there. So by using live text, but it's just designing it and making it work on the page.
I'll try and see if I can recreate it.
Right, but don't get too caught up with it. If your site looks lovely and you've used those images, I'm just arming you with extra information. So later on, when we do go into like the marketing section, you create additional pages to drive traffic into your site. You can see which pages are working, like split testing. You can see which pages are working. You can see which pages are not working. Because like you always would create a series of pages. Your site is your site, but we'll be creating additional pages to drive more traffic and to show in more places on the search engines. And you can use those pages to base test how much traffic is coming through your site. And it's easier than it sounds. You're probably like,
wonderful.
You know, so
I just want to learn the best practices, and I'm so glad that I heard about the HT, the H1, and the paragraph text. So
yeah, it's just best practices, but you know, that's it. Every day is a learning day, isn't it, guys?
It's wonderful. Thank you so much.
You gotta love it. Right, so what else have we got here? So we talked about the funnel there, and so Elizabeth, so the page we created as launching page, as per last week, we can publish it with the same SEO and see what's happening regarding traffic. Elizabeth, you're on here, aren't you? Are you still here? No, I think she's popped off.
No, I'm here.
Oh, hi, Elizabeth.
Hi,
yeah,
hi.
I mean, as we did last week, you can see it. And the thing is, we haven't done any of the marketing stuff because we're structuring these as workshops. So I don't want to break straight into marketing. That comes up when we've got a product and our site together. So your SEO that you've done is probably going to be basic SEO on it. And you can use that in all of the published page, but you should SEO all your pages now. And we can then later on do advanced SEO for the pages. So don't worry about it too much. Wait until we get onto that area. So if you launch, so you were saying there, if you, that holding page has SEO in it, will it be picked up by the search engines? Yes, if it's searched, it will. So it's important to SEO your published pages for sure. I like to do it as I'm working on a page. That way I don't forget. It's easy to forget. And that will work, but also the other pages. So when you switch over from that holding page we first created to the live site, just make sure all those pages are SEO'd, because not only can it be picked up by the search engines, even though you've not submitted a sitemap or anything, it could still be picked up. Then at least you know that you're in control of the SEO and what people are seeing. Also, a second thing of that is if you're posting the page to your social media, that's what they're going to see. So when you post it in there, you've written what you want people to see for that social media post. Does that help?
Okay. Yeah, that does help. Yeah. I have a tendency to jump before, to move forward before I need to. Yeah. So I should just step a bit slowly. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I do as well. It's like, I just get the job done. Yeah. Yeah, you really have to. I mean, but I'm trying to teach you best practices for this stuff. You know, if you don't, I mean, sometimes like SEO, I don't SEO some of my pages because I know what I'm going to do with them. I've already got a big list of people I'm sending. I don't really care. I mean, the search engines could pick the page up or whatever. It's unlisted, but I don't really care because I know what I'm doing with that page. I'm giving it to certain people, and they're going to see it, and I'm not using that particular page for generating any traffic. If I'm creating a page to generate traffic, of course, I make sure that I SEO the page up to check, but it depends on purpose. But I say to people that are just building their site and their new courses, just get into the habit of doing this stuff, because that way you won't forget, you know, that's the best thing, I think. So I think that, any more questions? Anyone want to come on live and ask a question, or are we all okay?
I had one more question. You just, you showed us how to remove the register page. We cannot remove the login button, correct? So if anybody clicks on the sign in, it'll go to the lead page that you replaced instead of register, correct?
That's it, yeah. So let me just show you. It's quite.
And when is it good to do it? Is it good to do it when you're doing a membership or before you launch a course, just so that nobody's inside? Is that what you said?
Right. So what I like to do, and because I don't know what you guys are going to do, you know, after you've seen the workshops on creating singular courses or creating memberships, you might, the way that you're thinking, I had this happen last time. Someone was thinking they're going to do this, and then after they watched the workshops, especially on the membership bundles, they went a completely different way. So what I say now for this new revision of the workshops we're running, I say that if you haven't launched your site and course, because some of you have got members in your courses, then if you're new and you're working along with me, then do what I did and get rid of that register block and put in a form, a lead sign up form. Because later on, if you want to reactivate that, we can just delete the block out and we can just drop that register block back in. But what it means at this stage is you're controlling it all. So you're not letting anyone in. If you let someone in now as registered user, you're going to have to go into that person, change their role to lead, and you're going to need to do that with all of them. Yeah. So if you've already got this set up because you don't know what you're going to do down the line, because we haven't got onto those workshops, then I say remove the block so they can't register and put in a sign up form so they can register, but they're registering as leads. So they haven't got any access to logged in pages. That's what I would say. So if I show you now with the page that we set up in this lesson, which was the register page, you'll see the login page is active. So the login page allows you to log in inside the site. if I can get to it. But because we set the register page up with just a form, things are going weird today. There's the login there. So if I go, look, I don't have a sign up. Where does this take me? Look, notice down here in the left-hand corner, when I mouse over this, it says .com/register. It takes me to the register page. But remember, my register page, this page, has got my own form in there. It's not the default register block. So what will happen is when they click here, it's going to take me to this. So they're not able to actually properly register and sign in because it won't ask them for a, you know, they can't put a email, they can't put a password in there. So they can't log into the system. So they're just going to go in here. And like I showed you earlier, they appear as leads. So this means that if if I'm turning this into a membership site and I don't want people to be able to register to see all my logged in pages, then I've still got control of it. If I leave that as a register form and then I'm busily working on my membership site, then I'll have to go, oh, okay, those people got into that page, they didn't pay for anything. So I'll have to remove them all, or I have to change their role to a lead. So I'm just saving myself a lot of a headache later on. And it might be a case that you want people to register, like I mentioned earlier. So in that case, we can delete this block out that you're seeing, and I can put the register block back in like that, you know. You don't even need a form on here. I mean, if you don't want to, you could just have on here, registration not open yet. And that's all you need to have. So when people try and sign in like this, they can't put anything in here. They'll go, oh, I need to sign up. And then it just comes to the next page, which is the register page. And it just says sign up not open yet. So you don't even need to put a form in there if you don't want. It's just I put forms everywhere because I haven't launched this site. Not that I'm going to, because it's a demo site, but I haven't launched this site. So I put forms everywhere so that wherever someone goes, they've got the option to sign up as a lead inside the site. So when I do launch, I've already got an email list being created behind the scenes. Remember, we haven't marketed this yet, but it can be people find it. It also means that you could post the site on social media and get people, you could say, oh, come and sign up on my site. I'm about to launch a membership in early February. And then you can put the link in there. They go sign up and you're building a list, but you're doing like a slow burn to market your site. Does that help?
Yes. So we should use the register block when we have a course to offer or when we have a paid membership to launch, correct?
No.
Because, well, I have right now a free membership and I disabled the register, but I did create a membership and they're signed up there.
Right.
Because...
Okay. So when you don't have to enable that register page at all, you can leave it off. And if I'm doing this as a membership site, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Because what happens is when you'll be like, well, how can people register if they can't, if you've disabled the register block? That register block is for public registration. So when people buy a course, they automatically buy the course and they will be shown another block to register for that course. So they'll have their own login details to the course. So they will be able to go in there and see the logged in page content, you know? So they don't need to, they actually need to buy something. You're basically stopping them from coming in on a register page. You're just allowing them to come in on your courses or your bundle or whatever. And that's how they register up. So you eliminate these people being able to get in that are just looking for free content. And that's all I'm doing. I don't like the register. I don't see why you need it when you could just create forms like this to capture leads and you can email those leads. I don't like the idea of someone being able to register on my site for content that should be hidden. That's my own view. But
I see.
Zenler have made it the ability that if you want to do that, it's like, I know like Tracy Browning, for instance, I don't know if she's here today, but I think she wanted the ability of people that actually register being able to see the blog. So we had that blog for registered users only. So then they could view the blog. So they would read the blog, and I guess they would be reading stuff, and then they would buy courses because they, like Tracy might mention the course, then they'll click through to it and buy it. So it could be used in that way. It depends how you want the system to work for you. But we're going to talk about bundles, courses, and we'll come back to the register page where I'll enable it again to show you how you can, but I'll also show you how to turn it off again. So this is something we're going to come back to, but not related to what we've done so far.
Thank you.
That's all right, Lorelei. So, so the page we created is launching page last week. So we've done that. I think we're covered then. That's all the questions I've got. I'm about to finish. It's now 11:35. So this is the last live before Christmas. We will be back on the 9th of January. And then that's when, so you've got a lot to do. If you haven't done your courses, to try and do your site, try and do your site, try and get it to a stage where you've got it set up and you've got a few pages on there that talk about what you're going to do. Hopefully you will have planned already the sort of courses you're going to do. You might not know yet whether you're going to turn it into a membership subscription or those sort of things. So on the 9th, we're going to come back with this, and we're going to talk about all the options of what you can do as far as pricing, because that might well dictate how you go about selling your school. It might dictate that you want to run it as a membership site, or you might want to sell individual workshops, or a combination of both. So it's going to be a lot of those sort of things. I'm going to try and make it as simple as possible so you can understand it. But your job between now and the 9th of January is to get your site up, at least have 2 or 3 pages, you know, and make sure you have that capture form in there, you know, so you've got people coming in, hopefully, before we get to doing all the cool stuff. So we're going to do the cool stuff. It's not, no one's going to see the cool stuff till we're finished. So again, like we did with the holding page, we set a holding page up, designed our site, then activated our site. We're going to do the same thing with the courses. We're going to keep all the courses private, so no one can see it. We can still test it as a student, and that way we keep it all safe, so you can test everything works, and then we're just going to turn it on in the site, and then it will be ready for people to buy, depending on whether you want to run a membership or a single course. So that is it. Have a fantastic, thank you guys, and good to see you. There's quite a few people turned up in the end, which was brilliant. So I'm going to have a lovely Christmas and New Year. I hope you guys have a lovely Christmas and stay safe, and I'll see you in January, and we'll carry on. Yeah. So please try and get the site together. Lots of tutorials already. So if you want to jump ahead, you could look at the other live workshops. But if you want to follow it with me and ask me questions as we're going, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to mentor you, to handhold you through the whole process. So I will see you I'm actually on office hours on Wednesday, and between Christmas and New Year, we've got an office hours running as well. So we've got our Christmas office hours this Wednesday. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We're coming up with some ideas for competitions and things. So you might see some posts on Facebook group on Monday with some competitions that we might be running to draw live on the Wednesday. So we're super excited about that. And I can't wait to get into the real stuff, which is like the course creation on the 9th of January. I think you're going to really love it. I've done some lovely slides and things, lots of handout sheets for you. And the course, with the course creation, I'm going to try and run a few more open houses between them, because I think it's a subject that people are going to be asking a lot of questions. Lorelei has already touched on a few that we're going to mention, and Mina has as well. So can't wait to get stuck in January. Have a lovely Christmas and New Year, and I'll see you all soon. Take care, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.